Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. Home Minister Rajnath Singh holds talks with leaders of various political parties in Kashmir, meets governor in a bid to restore peace in the valley. Opposition calls for ban on use of pellet guns. France says it will cooperate with India over the Scorpion submarine data leak. Investigations begin in both countries. French company asked to submit report. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar says there has been a hacking. Union Cabinet clears the Surrogacy Regulation Bill of 2016, prohibits commercial surrogacy and allows ethical surrogacy only for needy infertile couples. No exceptions made for NRI, single parents, live-in or gay couples. American university in Kabul attacked, 1 killed, 21 injured, attackers at large. No group has claimed responsibility yet. And death toll in Italy earthquake reaches 159 towns at the epicenter of the quake are scene of devastation. Rescuers race against time to save lives. Well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh met with the leaders of various political parties in Srinagar and also called on the governor of Jammu and Kashmir during the first day of his two-day visit to the state. He also reviewed the security situation in the state following continued violence. The opposition stresses on the dialogue and need to reach out to all stakeholders.
On a day when Home Minister Rajnath Singh visited Srinagar, the Kashmir Valley continued to simmer. Fresh clashes were reported in Pulwama district where a youth was killed. 18 security personnel, including 3 officers, were injured in a militant attack in Kashmir, where life remained paralyzed for the 47th consecutive day on Wednesday. The Home Minister, who is on a 2-day visit to the state, held talks with various political parties. Ahead of his visit, Rajnath Singh said he will meet anyone who believes in Kashmiriyat, Insaniyat and Jamhuriyat.
Absolutely serious about restoring normalcy as far as possible and as early as possible, and certainly Centre is taking all steps in that direction in coordination with the state government, and I'm sure things will come back to normal, which is also the yearning and the desire of the common citizens of Jammu and Kashmir.
After his arrival, the Home Minister was briefed by top civil, army, police and paramilitary officials about the prevailing situation. Former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah led a delegation of leaders of the National Conference to meet the Home Minister. He stressed on the need for beginning of a political dialogue with stakeholders and demanded end to the use of pellet guns.
We believe that it is very important that a political dialogue be initiated with the stakeholders of Jammu and Kashmir. And we will continue to press for those issues, both short-term, in terms of excessive use of force, in terms of the injuries and loss of life on account of the pellet guns, but also the medium to long term, which is the initiation of a sustained, meaningful dialogue to find what, in the words of the Prime Minister, is a lasting solution.
The Congress also sought start to the dialogue process, but also stressed on sending an all-party delegation to the state.
आशा करते हैं कि होम मिनिस्टर न सिर्फ जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं उन्हीं से बातचीत करें, लेकिन शुरुआत तो करें और उसके बाद तो दूसरे लोग भी हैं, नॉन स्टेट पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज और दूसरे स्टेक होल्डर्स, और वहाँ के स्टूडेंट्स से भी बात करें, वहाँ के ट्रेडर्स, ट्रेड यूनियन से भी बात करें, अलग अलग समुदायों से भी बात करें, और इसके बाद अब शांति होनी चाहिए.
Delegations of the PDP and the BJP also called on the Home Minister at the Nehru Guest House in Srinagar. Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti once again appealed to the youth of the state to shun violence during an event in Srinagar. In another move reaching out to the protesting youth in the valley, the centre has said it plans to train and employ 50,000 youths from Jammu and Kashmir within a year under one of its schemes, Seekho or Kamao. Meanwhile, the United States raised concerns over the human rights situation in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The move is seen as vindication of the Modi-led BJP government's stand on the issue.
Respectfully beg to differ. We do have concerns about the human rights situation there. I've reported it for several years in our human rights report, and we've obviously are always urging all parties in Pakistan to work out their differences peaceably and through a valid political process. And with respect to Kashmir, our policy there is well known.
66 people have died so far since the protests broke out in July. Separatists have announced extension of their strike call till 1st September. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on now, the two-day SAARC finance ministers meet will begin in Islamabad today. India will be represented by Economic Affairs Secretary Shantikanta Das. PTI is quoting sources as saying that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, who was scheduled to attend the conference, has cancelled the participation due to political reasons. Earlier this month, at the SAARC Home Ministers meeting in Islamabad, barbs were exchanged between Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Pakistan Interior Minister Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan. India has toughened its stand over talks with Pakistan, saying it is not willing to bow before terrorism and that Pakistan's support for terror has made it difficult for bilateral ties to grow. Meanwhile, in a first, victims of cross-border firing along the Indo-Pak border in Jammu and Kashmir will get compensation of 5 lakh rupees, similar to those who died due to terrorism or left-wing extremism violence. At present, there is no scheme to compensate victims of cross-border firing. The decision on the compensation was taken during a cabinet meeting chaired by Minister Narendra Modi. Now, approximately 770 kilometers of the line of control and approximately 220 kilometers of the international border have been a witness to frequent ceasefire violation and the influx of terrorists since 1990. More than 50 civilians die every year due to shelling and cross-border firing along the Indo-Pak border in Jammu and Kashmir. As many as 13,921 civilians have lost their lives till last year. The amount will also be given to those who receive 50% or more disability or incapacitation due to the same reasons.
सीमावर्ती क्षेत्र में जो क्रॉस बॉर्डर फायरिंग हो जाती है, अकस्मात आरंभ हो जाती है, कभी भी जिसका पता नहीं रहता, या फिर जो बॉर्डर के पास पाकिस्तान की ओर से माइंस लगाई गई हैं, जिसके कारण अनेकों युवाओं ने अपनी टांगें खो दी, अपने अंग खो दिए, उनको मुआवजा नहीं मिला करता था। तो उनको इस श्रेणी में सम्मिलित करना एक बहुत ही संवेदनशील और ऐतिहासिक निर्णय है। 5 लाख का मुआवजा तो उपलब्ध रहेगा तुरंत, जैसे आपने कहा, उसके अतिरिक्त 1 लाख सिक्योरिटी रिलेटेड एक्सपेंडिचर से कुल मिलाकर के 6 लाख उन्हें तुरंत उपलब्ध हो जाएगा। और ये न केवल उन लोगों की जो अपनी जान से हाथ गंवाते हैं, बल्कि वो लोग भी जो 50% से अधिक डिसेबिलिटी का शिकार हुए हैं।
Well, moving on to the other big news of the day now, France has said that it will cooperate with India over the Scorpion submarine data leak. The Indian Navy is probing the leak after Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar sought a report on the entire issue from the naval chief. French company DCNS has also been asked to give a report. Parrikar has said that it is a case of hacking. The Indian Navy suffered a huge data leak relating to the 6 Scorpion-class submarines being made by French company DCNS in India. Excerpts of the leaked information were released online by an Australian newspaper. Here's the details.
The Defence Ministry and the Indian Navy came in for a rude shock on Wednesday, with an Australian newspaper reporting the leak of highly sensitive documents detailing the technical and stealth capabilities of India's Scorpion submarines. 6 Scorpion-class submarines are being made in India in partnership with French company DCNS. The first of them, INS Calvary, has even begun sea trials and is likely to be inducted later this year. The leak could inflict a damage of $3.5 billion on India. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar said it could be a case of hacking, while also ordering an immediate probe by the Indian Navy.
Chief of Navy उनको बोला है कि वो पूरा विश्लेषण करें उसका क्या लीक हुआ है, हमारे बारे में उसमें क्या है, कितना हद तक उसका अगर है तो लीक।
Running into 22,400 pages, the leaked data gives away the entire secret combat and performance capabilities of the Scorpion-class submarines, including what frequencies they gather intelligence at, what levels of noise they make at various speeds, and their diving depths, range, and endurance. It also discloses magnetic, electromagnetic, and infrared data and specifications of the submarine's torpedo launch system and the combat system. It is not yet clear who first obtained the confidential documents, but they were made public on Wednesday by the Australian media. News reports claim the leaks were made in France, following which the French manufacturing company DCNS announced a formal investigation to determine the exact nature of the documents. French ambassador to India Alexandre Ziegler said that his country is working closely with India on the Scorpion leak case.
The French authorities are taking the matter very, very seriously and working on it very seriously with DCNS, with the industrial. And we are trying to assess the extent, the nature, the sensitivity of information that may have been leaked. And we will do and work in this in very, very close cooperation and full transparency with the Indian authorities.
The leak created furore in the political circle, with opposition parties demanding a clarification from the government.
Despite this Himalayan blunder that has deeply hurt India's defence preparedness, explanation of Modi government and defence minister is it's a case of mere hacking. Both the defence minister of India Shri Manohar Parrikar, Modi government and Indian Navy are currently engaged in operation cover-up instead of operation fixation of responsibility.
According to experts, the leak is massive and a matter of huge concern.
It is a significant compromise of the credibility of the underwater platform, because a submarine is all about not being detected. And if you look at the technical detail that has been put out in some of the sections, I was quite struck by one part which spoke about the acoustic signature.
Marked Restricted Scorpion India, the leaked documents could provide an intelligence bonanza to India's strategic rivals like Pakistan and China. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, a draft bill which aims to ban commercial surrogacy and safeguard the rights of surrogate mothers has been cleared by the Union Cabinet. The law also bans unmarried live-in and gay couples from opting for altruistic surrogacy. Here are the details.
तो एक संतुलन बैठाया जाए कि कमर्शियल सरोगेसी को पूर्ण रूप से प्रतिबंधित कर दिया जाए, लेकिन इस तरह के रिश्तेदार अगर आगे आकर मदद करते हैं तो उस पर रेगुलेट करते हुए उसकी अनुमति दी जाए.
The Union Cabinet has given its nod to the Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2016. The bill will ensure effective regulation of surrogacy, prohibit commercial surrogacy and allow ethical surrogacy to needy infertile couples.
सबसे पहली बात, इस बिल के माध्यम से केवल भारतीय नागरिकों को ही ये अधिकार दिया जा रहा है ऑल्ट्रुइस्टिक सरोगेसी का भी. विदेशी नागरिक और यहां तक कि ओसीआई कार्ड होल्डर्स को भी अनुमति नहीं होगी. जो दंपति इस तरह का बच्चा चाहता है, सरोगेट चाइल्ड, वो कानूनी रूप से विवाहित होना चाहिए, शादीशुदा होने चाहिए आपस में. अविवाहित को अनुमति नहीं होगी, सिंगल पेरेंट की अनुमति नहीं होगी, लिव इन रिलेशनशिप की अनुमति नहीं होगी, homosexual couples को अनुमति नहीं होगी.
The bill also has stringent provisions for surrogacy clinics.
सरोगेसी क्लिनिक्स हैं, उनके बारे भी ये लगाया गया है कि एक तो उनका रजिस्टर्ड होना जरूरी है. कोई भी अनरजिस्टर्ड सरोगेसी क्लिनिक नहीं चल सकेगा. और इसको और ज्यादा अंकुश लगाने के लिए किया गया कि कोई भी सरोगेसी क्लिनिक यदि मां की उपेक्षा करता है, सरोगेट मदर की, या चाइल्ड को अबेंडन करने में सहायता करता है, या वो दंपति जो औरत की उपेक्षा करते हैं, जिसको उन्होंने, चाहे वो अब रिलेटिव ही होगी, लेकिन उसकी अगर उपेक्षा करते हैं या बच्चे को अबेंडन करते हैं, तो कम से कम 10 साल की सजा, नॉट लेस देन 10 years, कम से कम 10 वर्ष की सजा होगी और 10 लाख रुपए तक का जुर्माना होगा.
The National Surrogacy Board at the central level and state surrogacy boards and appropriate authorities in the state and union territories will also be set up to regulate surrogacy. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Blindness can come in a variety of ways. 3.5 to 3.8 crore people in India are 360 blind. 3 million to 3.5 million Indians can be cured in 10 minutes if they are only refractive index blindness.
Watch Eureka with Dr. D. Balasubramanian, renowned ocular biochemist, only on Rajya Sabha TV. The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, in some good news coming in for frequent air flyers, the government has indicated that Wi-Fi facility on board the Indian airspace could soon become a reality. Civil Aviation Secretary R.N. Chaubey said on Wednesday that a decision on the matter could be taken in as soon as 10 days. With this, use of internet and making mobile calls would be permitted in Indian airspace. According to Chaubey, the Cabinet's approval would not be required for the proposal which facilitates Wi-Fi availability on Indian as well as foreign carriers only when overflying the Indian airspace. At present, flyers are not allowed to use mobile phones and internet when they are in the Indian airspace. Well, Water Resources Minister Uma Bharti has invited Chief Ministers of Odisha and Chhattisgarh next month to address the Mahanadi River issue. This after a 6-member team of Odisha BJP led by Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas Dharmendra Pradhan on Wednesday met Uma Bharti to discuss the Mahanadi water row. The delegation expressed concerns over the developments taking place over Mahanadi issue and sought assurance from the centre that Odisha gets its due supply of water from the river. Mahanadi River, a serious bone of contention between the two states, snowballed into a major political issue recently, with Odisha alleging that the Chhattisgarh government has been planning to build 13 barrages across the river in order to extract more water to provide to industries. Let's shift focus now and take a look at the flood situation across several states in the country. 2 more persons were killed in floods in Uttar Pradesh, which has affected lakhs of people in 28 districts of the state. The Ganga and Yamuna were flowing above the danger mark in Balia, Mirzapur, Varanasi, Ghazipur, Jalan, Hamirpur and Allahabad. NDRF teams have been sent to the affected areas. Meanwhile, in West Bengal, at least 7 persons have died of flood-related incidents in 3 districts as new areas in West Midnapur and Hooghly were submerged following a fresh release of water by the Damodar Valley Corporation. Over 58,000 people have been affected in Hooghly, West Midnapur and Howrah. The river Ganga is flowing above the extreme danger level in Malda district. And in Bihar, with 7 deaths, the toll in the current round of floods has risen to 29. The Ganga flood fury shifted to eastern districts of Vaishali, Samastipur, Begusarai, Munger, Khagaria, Bhagalpur and Katihar. River Punpun is overflowing due to rains in the state. While in Jammu and Kashmir, 2 boys are feared dead after they were washed away in flash floods in the Tawi River. They were washed away due to sudden floods owing to rains in the catchment area. A search operation was launched immediately by BSF and one of them was rescued. The Indian Meteorological Department has said that the La Nina phenomena, which gives a boost to southwest monsoons, was expected to give above normal rainfall in September. La Nina is associated with cooler than average sea surface temperatures. Some international news now. Myanmar President U Tin Kyaw will be on a 4-day visit to India from Saturday. The announcement came a day after External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj's 1-day visit to the country to hold talks with Myanmarese leaders on key bilateral issues. Myanmar, which shares a 1,640-kilometer long border with a number of northeastern states, including militancy-infested Nagaland and Manipur, is one of India's strategic neighbors. It will be the first state visit of the president after the formation of the first civilian government in 50 years. He will hold meetings with top leadership and visit places of cultural and historical importance. A 6.8 magnitude earthquake shook Myanmar on Wednesday, killing at least 3 people and damaging pagodas in the ancient city of Bagan. The quake struck 25 kilometers west of Chok Town in central Myanmar at a depth of 84 kilometers. Tremors were felt as far away as Thailand, Bangladesh and India, sending fearful residents onto the streets. According to the Ministry of Information, nearly 100 of Bagan's famed pagodas, mostly built between the 11th and 13th centuries, had been damaged. Tremors were felt in Bihar, West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh and northeastern states in India, spreading panic among people. There were no immediate reports of loss to life or property. In Kolkata, metro services were temporarily suspended after tremors were felt. Building walls developed cracks due to the tremor. No damage was reported from any part of the country. The quake was also felt in Bangladesh to the west of Myanmar.
लगभग हम लोगों तो 15-20 सेकंड महसूस हुआ, 15 to 20 seconds.
सर्विस अभी बंद पड़ा हुआ है, अभी कोई सर्विस नहीं है और इसको अभी परेशानी तो हो रही है। जाना था काम से, ऑफिस के काम से जाना था, पर अभी तक नहीं जा पा रहे हैं तो परेशानी तो है।
भूमिकंप आया है वो तो बहुत बड़ा हो गया। हम लोग मीटिंग में बैठे रहे, अभी आज हम लोग का सारा असम का कमिश्नर और लोग वाइस चेयरमैन और चेयरमैन दोनों हम लोग बैठे रहे वहाँ। जब हिलता है ऐसा सबको डर हो गया,
पूरा हिल रहा था, नीचे से लग रहा था।
Well, the death toll in the Italy earthquake has reached 159. The towns at the epicenter of the quake, Amatrice, Accumoli and Arquata del Tronto, are now scenes of devastation, with rescuers racing against time to pull out people alive from the rubble. Italian Prime Minister Renzi vowed to spare no efforts in saving lives and in providing relief, even as many other nations offered help.
Relief. As the 65-year-old man is rescued from rubble. He was buried for 9 hours in the town of Accumoli after a devastating 6.2 magnitude earthquake hit central Italy on Wednesday morning. However, rescue workers quickly move on to their next rescue mission. They are racing against time as the death toll mounts to 159 and over 400 are injured. Hundreds of people are still believed to be buried under the rubble. Rescue teams are using heavy lifting equipment and bare hands to carry out rescue work. Many settlements are only accessible by small roads, posing a challenge for authorities moving in heavy machinery to the disaster spots. Rescue dogs sniffed and clawed through the debris with no signs of life. Earlier, Prime Minister Matteo Renzi warned the toll could rise as he visited the affected areas. Search for survivors continued through the night.
Le vittime sono soprattutto concentrate in 3 comuni. Ci sono almeno 120 vite spezzate al momento. Ed è un bilancio.
The town of Amatrice has been worst hit. Other fatalities were reported in the nearby towns of Accumoli and Arquata del Tronto. US President Barack Obama called Italian President Sergio Mattarella to offer assistance. The leaders of France, Germany and Russia and the European Union all expressed sympathy over the disaster. Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to Twitter to express sadness over loss of lives.
Secretary Kerry spoke to the Italian foreign minister and made clear the American people stand with the Italians in this difficult time. He offered any U.S. assistance Italy may require and pledged to stay in close contact as search, rescue and recovery efforts continue.
Es sind schrecklich, die wir sehen, und wir werden auch bereit sein, alles, was wir können, wenn es notwendig ist, Italien als Hilfeleistung zur Verfügung zu stellen. Und unsere Gedanken sind heute bei den Menschen in der Region in Italien.
Italy is no stranger to deadly quakes. In May 2012, a pair of earthquakes killed dozens of people in northern Italy, while in April 2009, a 6.3 magnitude earthquake hit the Aquila region of central Italy, killing 295. The earthquake on Wednesday struck an area close to the 2009 earthquake. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other international news now, a security guard was killed and 21 students were injured as militants struck at the American University in Kabul, Afghanistan. The attackers detonated explosives and fired guns when they invaded the campus, causing many students and faculty to flee. Others hid inside buildings while the insurgents remained on the campus. The attack ended after 2 attackers were killed nearly 10 hours after they stormed into the university complex. The university is regarded as a symbol of cooperation between Afghanistan and the United States.
We were studying at second floor that suddenly we heard a very harsh sound. Then some fires. Then we didn't feel good and safe, so therefore we jumped from the second floor.
Anytime we see innocent civilians, whether they're Americans or Afghans or other innocent people of any nationality in an international city like Kabul, in harm's way, we're of course deeply concerned about that. And the security situation inside of Afghanistan is still one that is concerning. So it certainly is something that we're monitoring closely.
Well, here's a roundup of the other international news in World Wrap. Syrian rebels backed by the Turkish military and US air cover have taken the town of Jarablus from the Islamic State. The assault began at dawn when Turkish warplanes, tanks and special forces personnel crossed the nearby border. Rebel commanders said that most of the Islamic State militants subsequently retreated. Turkey says its intervention is targeting both IS fighters and Syrian Kurdish-led alliance that is attempting to advance on Jarablus. A UN investigation has established that President Bashar al-Assad's forces carried out at least 2 chemical attacks in Syria. The panel was able to identify the perpetrators of 2 chemical attacks carried out in 2014 and 2015, but was unable to draw any conclusions in the other 6 cases that it has been investigating over the past year. The report also says that IS terrorists used mustard gas as weapon. Drone strikes killed 5 al-Qaeda suspects traveling in cars in provinces of southern and eastern Yemen on Wednesday, while 3 militants were killed when a rocket fired from a drone struck their vehicle in a desert area of Marib province. Another 2 were killed in a separate drone attack in the southern province of Shabwa. Well, scientists have discovered an Earth-like planet orbiting the star closest to the Sun. The planet, named Proxima b, is 1.3 times the size of Earth and is believed to be rocky. According to a paper published in the journal Nature, Proxima b is at the right distance from its star to support liquid on the surface. It is located about 4.2 light years or 40 trillion kilometers from Earth and is the closest of some 3,500 planets that have been discovered beyond the solar system since 1995. Astronomers got their first hint of a planet circling the Sun's closest star, Proxima Centauri, in 2013.
From simulations and from other observations of other systems, transit observations, we expect and we completely trust that a planet with a mass of 1.3 Earth masses is a terrestrial planet, which means that it is similar to Earth in its shape, sort of, in its making. So it's not a gas ball or something. It's a terrestrial one that has a surface. So you can stand, or people, or who else might be able to stand on it and not like in Jupiter.
Well, that's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.